What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, I am going to take a look at the traditional real estate model, the impact that the last couple of years have had on that model, and then look at a new team model structure we're seeing more and more of. Stand by for this episode of the HyperFast Show. All right, welcome back to the show. Today, I am going to talk about the traditional real estate team model, what the market has done to challenge that model, and some of the responses we've seen and potential new team models that are gaining more and more prevalent. So, what is the traditional team model? Well, this model has been around for at least 20 years. I think it gained more popularity in the early 2000s. A lot of real estate coaches trained on it. It was really popularized, I think, in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, with Gary Keller and Keller Williams, and some of the big teams we've seen use that for, decades now. And that model really is one where the team leader serves as the primary rainmaker, right? So the team leader has to generate a lot of leads, right? First, when the team leader starts out, he or she generate enough leads for them to do, 2, 3, 4, 5 deals a month. Maybe they hire an assistant, maybe they hire an ISA, and they get up to 50 deals a year, maybe even 100 in that model, right? Where it's just them and a couple assistants or an ISA. And then what happens? Well, they hire buyer's agents, and then they get more buyer's agents and more, and then listing agents maybe, and then then you need more people to manage them, right? You need potentially, once you're 10 agents or so, a sales leader, and then or sales trainer. Then you might need an onboarding specialist and maybe a recruiter. And you see these teams get big. Some of them have over 100 agents on them, and and they're not acting as a brokerage, right? Where these 100 agents are independent of each other. They're all kind of on the same team, and they're getting leads from the team leader, from the team leader's inside sales agents, ISAs, from the efforts of the team leader's marketing, right? And just to keep it simple, they're kind of on a 50-50 split general. Now, sometimes they're more than that. Sometimes it depends on the lead source. There can be different structures within that. Sometimes there's fees if the lead comes from an ISA. Sometimes they'll carve up, paid agents, and they'll have even showing agents that will work on salary, and then, those agents can, increase the, amount of deals that one buyer's agent can do or that the team leader can do, and so what happens is, you end up with a lot of overhead in this model, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's an expensive model to run. Some of these teams have six-figure, even multi-six-figure a month marketing budgets, and then that's before you even talk about paying all the staff, all of the tech stack, so on and so forth. And for many, this model crushed it for years, even decades. The last couple of years, the model has really been challenged for a number of reasons. The US went from over 6 million real estate sales per year, right? In 2021 to now 4 million. We may even be under that number, under that 4 million mark in 2023 or in 2024, I mean. Now, as a percentage of homes, sold, right? When you look at number of homes in the U.S., numbers sold, and you actually look at the turnover rate, we are at the lowest turnover rate that we've seen since the early 90s, 30 years, right? 2.5% of homes in the U.S. will turn over. That's the lowest it's been since the early 90s. So what does that do to this traditional team model? Well, if all of a sudden your leads, your deals get cut by 33%, which is essentially what happened, it has cascading effects, okay? All of the different companies that sell leads to real estate agents all of a sudden have less leads to sell. So when supply, when the supply of what they're selling goes down, it drives the cost up. So leads that maybe used to be $50 a lead, we're talking internet leads primarily here, $30 a lead. Some of these sources have gone up to hundreds of dollars per lead. So that's like a 10x increase, right? Now some of these companies have, like Zillow, for example, have shifted and they're less in the business of selling leads for an upfront cost now to generating the lead. They got their own ISA staff at Zillow that will cultivate it. They pass off a warmer lead and then they take referral fees. Well, sounds good, right? Because you're not paying for the lead up front, but now you have a 30, 35, 40% fee going to Zillow. And that's before the team leader gets paid and the buyer agent gets paid. So if 35, 40% is coming off the top, right now that's 60 coming into the house. The team leader still has to pay the broker. And then there's a 50-50 split after that in most models, right? So now you've got like the team leader getting 25%, right? Their cost of sale is 75%, right? The cost of sale, 75%. And the agent, meanwhile, is operating at 25%, right? They're keeping 25%. Now that the buyer's agent, listing agent, the team, they of course have less expense, less overhead, less risk. So for many, it's still maybe a great deal. Maybe they like that, right? I've talked to many Zillow Flex buyer's agents who just love the flow of leads from Zillow, and they're fine going out and selling a home and making 25%, sometimes even less. But what it's done to the team model is really driven down the profitability, right? Because now all these different lead sources that rainmakers depending on to basically feed all of the buyer's agents, listing agents on the team, they have decreased. So these agents, go from closing 2, 3, 4 deals a month to 1, maybe 2 for some of them, right? And I'm talking very broad general strokes here, and there's of course going to be exceptions to all of this and people in different markets that are doing different and better. But for the most part, you're seeing the productivity per agent in all kind of shapes and forms go down compared to what it was a few years ago. So what does that do to the team model? Well, the team model, there's a certain amount of the traditional team model anyway, there's a high level of ongoing cost, right? We've already talked about it. And the team leader makes nothing, right, until those costs are covered. And if they're making less per deal, let's say in their old market, the old 2021 and before, maybe it took them 10 deals a month to cover, and I'm talking for a larger team here, of course, but maybe it takes them 10 deals to cover their cost. And if you had 10 agents and they're averaging 2 deals a month, great, you've got 20 deals, so 10 pay your cost and 10 contribute to your profit, right? Well, now if your cost per lead is going up and the amount you take per deal is going down, and your expenses are staying the same, well, now maybe it takes 13 deals or 14 deals or 15 deals to break even. And, you go from 6 million US sales to 4 million, that's a 33% reduction. So even if you were maintaining the same market share and not losing position in the market, that would mean you're going from 20 deals to 13 or 14 a month. So now you're kind of at your just break even point. And you're seeing this in a lot of big real estate teams where they're still putting up big numbers, 100 million, 200, 300 million. But, you look behind the curtain and a lot of them, and I'm not saying all, but a lot of them, the profits went away, right? So now, they've got a huge overhead, ton of risk, and very small amount of profit, if that. Right. So, and then the other thing you're seeing in this model now is higher turnover than normal because of the cost, right? If the agents are getting paid less per deal and deals are hard to come by, then, they're not making as much, right? So what has been the industry response to this? Well, I've seen a lot of teams, newer teams, emerge with a different model, right? Instead of the team leader as the rainmaker, whose main responsibility is generating leads for the team, right, and managing that whole process. You're seeing this new model where the team leader shifts. The team leader's primary responsibility now is training the agents, not just on converting the leads that they get from the team leader or the team, but it's training the agents on how to market or brand themselves, how to generate their own business. And, they get to work with the team leader, and, have shared resources, have shared branding in many cases, but at the same time, a lot of them now have a path to brand themselves, right? So when you compare that to the agent in many of the traditional team models, because of the need of the team leader to generate so many leads, it is just to keep the team going, right? A lot of times in that model, the individual agents have less branding autonomy. So this new model, the team leader is shifting, right? The primary role of him or her now is really to get the agents not just good at converting leads, but generating them and branding. And so what are the characteristics of this team? Well, they typically have a lot less overhead, because this team, right, their promise to the team member is not come here and I'm going to give you leads. It's come here and I'm going to show you how to get leads. I'm going to show you how to convert them. I'm going to show you how to build a big business. So when you have that as the primary reason for them joining, plus lower overhead, you're able to have a model where the agents get to keep a much higher percentage of their commission. So, of course, that means the team leader is taking less, but remember, they have less expenses, right? They also have, I think, in this model, a better chance of lower turnover, right? Because when the agents feel empowered, when they have more autonomy, when they have more time or more responsibilities on them to generate the business, but they're getting support in doing that, I think in a lot of the models or the teams I've seen running this model, they actually have less turnover. Again, they're bringing in less revenue per agent, perhaps, but they also have less expenses. Where we've really seen this model take effect or have a bigger impact, I should say, is when they're at a cloud-based brokerage, a brokerage that has revenue share. Now, I would argue the team leader is running something that's kind of like a hybrid between a team and a brokerage, and the team is really helping them build their revenue share group. Right. So a lot of these teams are at EXP or LPT or Epic or Real or just, one of the other, new ones, because it seems like almost every week a new revenue share model, cloud broker kind of pops up and, comes on the scene. Right. But when you have this model, I think or this team model at this brokerage model, now you have an opportunity for the agents to come build their own business, and it's a little bit easier for them to go out and recruit or go out and build their own team with a similar structure, right? And it becomes more of a partnership. So it's different from the traditional team model. Some people have really used it to skyrocket their sales, have more people, have people that stay longer, and build revenue share along the same, at the same time. It also, I think, can make a big impact for building other ancillary businesses. So I think this model, because it's depending on the agents to lead generate, giving them more autonomy, giving them more branding freedom. I think it's also going to help the team leader recruit, get people faster, and grow other ancillary businesses such as title, mortgage, insurance, right? So there's a lot of different models, I think, out there evolving in this kind of shift we're going in real estate. And I'm sure a lot of people that are leading big teams and seeing their profitability go down or completely gone in many cases, they're going to tweak what they're doing. We're going to continue to see these new models emerge. And, I think it's an exciting time. I think it's a time where innovation, people that are flexible, people that are willing to adapt are going to improve upon the system. I think it's going to make it better for all agents. So I am excited about the changes. I'd love to know in the comments or just give me direct feedback, like what you think about real estate team models, the traditional model, some of the new ones that are emerging. At EXP, by the way, this new model is often called the self-organized team. So agents, come on. They don't necessarily even have to have a team agreement, although I still think it's good to have one, because I think there's room for a hybrid of this model where you have a certain high split that they do on their own business, but then maybe if you're a team leader in production and you're doing 4 or 5 deals a month and you get more leads than that and don't want to do anymore, you give those leads off to other people and take bigger referral fees out of it. So I think some people that build these I've seen neglected the team agreements. I think you should still have those in place, even if it's less structured than a traditional team. But we've really seen these work, the self-organized team concept at EXP Realty, and I think it's exciting times. I think if you're looking to join a team, I think you want to check out both options. I think if you're a team leader, you need to really take a hard look and just make sure what you're doing makes sense. So if you have any thoughts, comments, please let me know. Would love to get your feedback on this. And we will see you next time on the HyperFast Agent Show. On our next episode, by the way, we are going to be talking about how to make the transition from being on a team to starting your own team or starting your own business. So tune into this episode or to the next episode. We will see you next time. Thank you again, as always, for listening. And if you got value out of this, please leave a comment, give us some feedback. I'll see you next time.